Hello and welcome to the Life Laundry Podcast. Oh, I'm Gemma.
Oh, no, it's my editing week and I've got to edit out that fucking laugh.
No, leave it in.
I'm Chippy.
You know why? It's because I was getting excited. I was getting ready to say, for the first time with... What's this? Video. Yeah.
In your video faces, in your eyeballs.
In your eyeballs.
I went and put a very bright lipstick on, so now you get to watch me try and drink coffee and not get lipstick all over my face.
I am fresh from the...
Don't say it.
Ugh.
You haven't already been to Spin, have you?
Oh, God, no. I'm fresh from this summer camp school run. See, I at the end of term, I was like, yes, no more school runs.
Yeah.
I'm still doing this ones. Kind of.
As a mum who can't do summer camp, I'm envious. I'll do it if I can.
Oh, it's not a chore. It's not a chore. It's
bye,
great.
darlings. Bye. Have a lovely time. Bye.
Bye.
Is it just Ben?
It's just Ben, and the other two are self-sufficient. I've got some big news. I've got a lot to talk about today. I am not pregnant.
Just carry on.
Go
do the washing up.
So,
my empty chair.
Number one, do you like my hair?
I really like your hair. And I was going to say, when I rushed off to put lipstick on, Gemma just sat there smug in the knowledge that she's already looking great.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet.
Also, can I just... Is that a Gary I see on your body?
It is. Long sleeve.
Can you stand up so that we can show the laundrettes? Because finally they can see. There's the Gary. There it is. Modelled by Gemma Bray. This is... Sometimes you'll see we're both in a Gary. But today I'm in a Scamp and Dude. Childlike romper.
We're repping for the jumpsuit crew.
Yeah.
So someone very kindly sent me off on a treat to a rather swanky hairdresser's with a bar. I went in and it was the most... I've never had a hair experience like it. And I'm sure like people listening to this who like have money and live in like London are used to this, right? Not me. I walked in and there was like, I said, would you like some water? So I said, look, have you got any sparkling water? Fully expecting to say just tap. I was like, but I'm fine with tap. And she brought out this sparkling water on a slate tray with figs and pistachios. And I was like, oh, we've raised the game. And then when they were putting like the toner on my hair and I had to sit for it to develop, this bar opens, G&T, rosé wine, champagne. I got so intimidated. I went, no, thanks, I'll just have a water, thanks, fine.
You'll learn. I
don't think I'll ever afford to go back there again. But so that's that. So that was nice. That was a nice treat last night. And then the other bit of news that I've got is that Tom,
yeah,
is potentially going to start working for Team Tom.
Oh
no!
Can I interview him?
Yeah,
it was all about doing the interview process, and I
think that would actually be a really good idea.
Thomas, you need to sign a, what are they called?
NDA. Yeah.
Even if your mum is really annoying and makes you do a lot of work over the summer, you're not to put up embarrassing content.
No.
You wear a jumpsuit at all times whilst working for Team Tom.
He's been looking for jobs, bless him, and he's getting more and more despondent. And I needed some help with video editing and stuff. It was starting to take ages. And I was driving somewhere the other day and I was just like, well, Tom is actually really good at that because he used to run a YouTube channel a few years ago.
But also, do you know what my father would say about this? He would say this, it's not the most lovely term, but it fits well. Why have a dog and bark yourself? But what I mean is, the youth of today, do you remember having to show your parents how to write an email and being like, why am I having to show you this? It's really easy. Like, having to show your parents how to use Google. The equivalent now is kids being like, can't understand why, like loads of my friends are just like, I don't do reels, I don't understand them. I had Snapchat for about 7 minutes, and I don't understand it at all. What's the point of it? Why are you snapping? What's going on? And I feel like if you've got a teen in your house that wants to make money, get them to do as much of your technical as possible.
Because there's a very lovely lady over on TikTok who has been sharing a lot about the Organised Mum method and stuff. And I don't like TikTok. It scares me. It genuinely scares me. Tom's amazing on TikTok. So I'm like, you just go and do that. So,
yeah, because I don't understand that, because you're fine with reels.
Yeah, but I'm Instagram's comfy. I like Instagram. I know the vibe on Instagram. I know what people are like. TikTok, it seems like TikTok is a bit like Twitter. It's a lot harsher.
Maybe it's the 3-year age gap, but I feel very safe on TikTok. Not safe. I mean, I'm sure the kids will hate me at some point, but like I feel like I know what I'm doing. And for me, because it's either beauty content or true crime. I have 2 different channels. It's not on the same place. I feel like I know, I understand the assignment. I'm like, oh, people want to know about retinol. I can tell you about retinol. So I get it. Whereas with Instagram, because of all that thing, which you've always been very good at, where I'm like, why has this video got 3,000 views and this video's got 3? And that still, after all these years of Instagram, throws me off. Whereas it doesn't seem to throw me off on TikTok. I'm just like, well, TikTok. What are the kids up to today? They're not looking at me, or all the kids are looking at me today. It's like me trying to tell a rowdy classroom of like preschoolers some stuff. Sometimes they listen, sometimes. Yeah. Whereas with Instagram, I'm like, oh, it's judgy mums. That's how I feel. Whereas you feel more comfortable with the judgy mums.
What does that
Do you know what I mean? Well, no, I think it's because you're like, oh, okay, judgy mums. Sorry, not everyone on Instagram is a judgy mum, but do you know what I mean? It's that different kind of audience.
Yeah, it's a completely different audience. So I feel like it's lovely. I mean, I've already made the decision that he's going to come and work for me, but I've told him that he's on a trial.
And he's got to have an interview with a big
and he's like, Mum, what are you doing for your hashtags for TikTok? And I was making myself a cup of tea. I was like, don't stop stressing me out. And he was just like, you need a hashtag strategy. I was like, I know. Can't I just post organically? He was like, no, you need a strategy.
Tom, come and work for me.
He was like,
there's a kids cartoon called Ben and Holly.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to rewrite and do a Life Laundry cartoon called Tom and Holly.
Yeah.
Because you're getting told off by Tom. And I was telling you just before we started recording that Holly, who is basically, if you could remove any useful part of my mind and put it in person form, it is Holly. Anything I do is down to Holly, who gave us a little bit of a bollocking last week.
Which is why we're doing this.
Which is why, Holly's fault.
I'm
wearing lipstick at 9:16 in the morning. So I feel like with both of them, they could, we might do something. You're very efficient. I'm just tagging you along with my inefficiency. But
what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so I gave him a YouTube video, a dummy YouTube video to edit for me, right? Because that's where most of my time goes. But
also that's really difficult, because when I first started makeup YouTube about 10 years ago, I couldn't bear to watch myself.
Yeah, Joe used to do it for you, didn't he?
Joe used to do it, but Joe doesn't care. Joe loves me, does not care about makeup. So it would end up with him editing out, like I'd be telling you really precisely how to blend something, and he'd be like, that's too long, I'm going to cut that out. But stuff with me being like, and then I went to the shop, and he'd be like, oh my God, you're so amazing. So this beauty video with, he got bored and cut out most of the beauty stuff that was actually useful and left in a load of me waffling. So it is really difficult if you're trusting someone to edit your videos.
Yeah. So I left into it, and you see, I only know this. We only know our. This is something in life genuinely like that has always perplexed me. That's the wrong word, but it's always made me think deeply on it. So when I got divorced, and Tom and Johnny used to go, or they still do now, like see their dad. It took me a long time to come to terms with the fact that they had a whole different life that I didn't know about outside of the life that we lived in our little bubble.
This, I have similar, but very Chippy versus Gemma, in that I have this real like obsessive fascination about the fact that after you die, your body, until it's cremated or buried, has this existence that you don't know about, that you have no say in.
Oh.
And I think about it quite often, where it's like people can make decisions for you. You're like this extra being that's nothing to do with you. Anyway, carry on.
It really sort of got in my head. It messed with my head a little bit, and obviously as your kids get older and they have lives outside of the house,
also that's the thing, they started going to your ex when they were little.
Yeah
Right.
But I've only ever seen Tom in full on family teenage relaxed mode, right? I've never seen what he could potentially be like in a more professional whatever situation,
especially considering the job he wants to do, which we won't discuss, but like he wants to do a grown-up job.
And then so he texts me and he was like, I'd love to know your opinions on lo-fi music in the background. I think it would add a deeper level of texture to the. I'm like, what the heck? Sorry, who's taken Tom? What's happened? What have you done with Tom?
Is this code word? Do you need help?
Yeah. Oh, we do have that. We do have that. We've got this little system. If ever he's in a situation with his mates and he feels uncomfortable or there's peer pressure or something, he just will text me an X, like a letter X, and then I will immediately phone him and come up with a fake. Thomas needs to come and pick you up.
Okay, that wouldn't work with my kids.
Well, they're too little.
Well, yeah, but also they'll be like, I love mummy. They like have moments where they love me and they want to send me a kiss.
Oh no, you see, Tom would never do that, so that's why it works. If you send Tom a text, like asking a question, where are you? You need to be back for tea. He will literally just text back the letter K for okay, K.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they probably will morph into that, but at the moment, Ned would probably cry if I told him that, because he'd be like, but what if I wanted to send you a kiss? My kids have come up with a ploy for how to we can tell each other that we love each other without saying it in public.
Okay.
So they cry at the thought of not wanting to say it to me in public.
Oh,
quite sweet. But I'm like, you will get to a stage where you won't want to be telling me in the middle of Sainsbury's that you love me.
No.
And so we squeeze we hold hands and we squeeze 3 times. I love you. And it backfired slightly in that Ned just, it's like a heart pumping him. I'm like, this is too
There's a lot of love.
There's a lot of love, and I do appreciate it, but also it's kind of annoying.
It's like that thing. Did you ever used to do that at school, where if you say the word elephant, it looks like you're mouthing. If you mouth the word elephant, it looks like you're mouthing I love you. So like that. And like
why don't you just mouth?
Oh, because no, that's the trick. That's the joke, right? So you're across a classroom and you
mouth it, and they think
to a boy that you don't fancy, but you want to wind him up, right? So you mouth the word elephant. He gets all coy and cocky, comes in it. I didn't say that. I said elephant. Loser.
We have very different childhoods. We've discussed this before. But I love that idea. I do think it's really important. I mean, I had this thing where whenever I got into trouble when I was a teenager, I would always phone my mum. I was very naughty, but I always knew I could phone my mum. But I think it is really important to have like some sort of system in place where you can.
Yeah, that's the system. I mean, obviously it wouldn't work if, God forbid, it was a dangerous situation, because he might not be able to pick the phone up. It's more of a situation where, like,
thing, like, I always think it's really useful, obviously, again, too much true crime, if there's like something, a word you could say on the phone,
yeah,
that means
come get me,
yeah, or there's a problem, like,
yeah.
and it's got to be something that if someone's listening, it doesn't sound like,
yeah, it's not like banana.
yeah, it's got to be
yeah, so I'm having a great time, Mum. Banana.
I want Tom to come and sort out my existence at some point, if he's going to be.
He did he went on like this team building away day thing on Monday in our local reservoir / water park, and he wasn't happy because I sort of kind of forced him to go. I was like, you can't sit in your room rotting on your Xbox for the whole of the 6 weeks holidays. You've got to go and do an activity. Anyway, so as I drove off, he's just like staring at me across the car park. I said to Mike, this isn't good. He hates me. I could literally feel the anger seething out of his face.
That's an important part of teenagedom.
Huh?
It's an important part of teenagedom. Being left somewhere, hating your parents.
And I'm like, bye!
Have a lovely
time. Anyway, I picked him up, and he did have a really good time. They built rafts. They went paddle boarding, and he was just like, he said something again that made me go, he was like, why can't people tie knots anymore? I'm like, no, I can't tie a knot. I said, who's taught you how to tie a knot? He's like, Granddad, because my dad sails quite a lot. He's like, no one could tie a knot. He said, I was basically just the knot tire all day.
But Tom has always been different, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's like, why could no one tie a knot? Oh. It's like, I went to school the other day to pick Ben up, and this woman goes, Ben's been teaching my son to play chess. I'm like, what? Do you play chess? I'm like, no. And it turned out my dad had taught Ben how to play chess, and now Ben's teaching everyone how to play chess. So I mean, kids have this whole other life that you don't know about.
And that's good.
Hidden talent.
It is good, but it is that weird thing of like, especially as I think as a mum, you get the worst. You probably get the best bits, but you also get the bits where they're like, rotting in their room with their Xbox, or in my case, I mean, my eldest child is basically like some sort of emo goth hybrid at the moment. He's nearly 10, but honestly, like, only wears black. I have to force him into either a short sleeve t-shirt or shorts. He won't expose both parts of his body. He'll just, if it's really hot, he might put a pair of like long board shorts on. He won't have his hair cut, so he's just got this straight black long bowl. It's just and like, I'm having to make him a meditation garden.
And we've spoken about this before, isn't it? Like how as they grow up and they start to develop a personality that isn't yours, and you like struggle, like, because Tom's so relaxed, but I'm not relaxed. I struggle to.
Was Tom
identify with it?
Yeah, I mean, I identify with, I don't know, I think I just wasn't expecting it as early from Ned, and because 9's little, but he's very much moody preteen, I'd say, and it's very, there's some bits that I really identify with, but like none of his friends are the same. All of his friends are kind of quite energetic, reading the Beano, climbing stuff. And he currently, I can hear my pestle and mortar in the kitchen because he's making his own incense today.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't really know how to deal with that.
I know, but it's so annoying. And he got this cookbook. This like there's a TV show called Avatar. He got an Avatar cookbook for getting a good school report. And we're having to bake a lot of stuff from that, even though he's the world's fussiest eater. And it's just a lot. It's just, yeah. I was like, why can't you go and fall out of a tree like I did when I was 9? Obviously not break any bones, but like, go and scrub about outside instead of talking to any grown-up you can find about what's his astral planing.
Don't know what that is.
It's where you kind of have an out-of-body experience deliberately.
Crikey.
That's what I'm dealing with.
So how are the summer holidays going? Going well?
The summer holidays, yeah. I want to talk about this today because I think I've got a situation that quite a lot of mums have. I'm definitely in it. Oh, boobs. Oh, so now we're going to be on YouTube. Everyone's going to see how often we just have a quick check of Gem's boobs. I
had an itch.
They're still magnificent. This year is a lot better than last year.
Right.
So normally summer holidays, I'll be in London.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been able to afford to do any of the clubs. So all his friends would be doing clubs, football club or multi-sports club 5 days a week. We wouldn't be able to afford that. So it would be me trying to work full time. And by full time, I mean flexibly for myself, but full-time hours with 3 children on summer holidays, trying to do stuff that we could afford to do with a husband that's working full-time and does a lot, but also does nothing in that he gets them up every day. He makes them breakfast every day. He does a lot of bedtimes and bath times, but nothing really in between, unless I've booked it, unless I've said to him, you're in charge of the kids. Like yesterday, he was in charge of the kids from 2 till 4. So this year they've got a camp on Monday, 50 dangerous things. And today we're going to go and see the dinosaurs. That's why we're recording early. So part of the reason we moved was to make it easier on us financially. But also this year, as you'll know, because yesterday I got confused about an email. So I'm just trying to be like, I'm going to work when I can work. So I'm going to edit this podcast when I get back this afternoon. I'm going to record my mini episode for my Patreon later and edit that, and that's fine. And rather than in my head, I'd normally be really stressed. I'd be like, I've got to record an episode and edit an episode. I'm just going to be like, I'm going to do that later, and it will happen at some point, even if it happens in a block focused when the kids go to bed. Fine. And I'm going to have a nice time. And tomorrow is going to be sunny and hot. It's going to be 26 and sunny, allegedly. So tomorrow I've got a phone call with Holly, and then I was said to Joe, I'm going to try and work from my sun lounger, because it's so difficult. If you're the main parent, main caregiver during summer, you feel like you missed out on your summer. So I'm like, if it's sunny and if it's hot, I'm going to give myself some time with my book in my sun lounger, because that's my holiday. And no one else is going to come in and go, oh, Chippy, have an afternoon in the sun lounger with your book. I have to make it happen. So I'm sort of taking, for the last 2 days, I have been knackered by the end of the day. Just because we've been doing, like, Jim had blood tests yesterday, and I took his cousin with him, and we had a really nice time. But I was just like, I always tell my coaching clients, one thing that I'm really guilty of doing, I don't think you do this, I think you're quite good at living it now, but like I will obsessively stress about something that's going to happen later that may not even happen.
Right.
And that usually, if you're doing stuff like summer holidays, then I would ruin my day with my children by obsessively worrying about the work that I'm not getting done, even though worrying about it and obsessing about it isn't getting the work done. It's not going to make it happen any sooner. And instead I'm not fully focusing. Whereas now I'm like, I've got my podcast, they're watching telly. It's not ideal. Will it kill them? No, it won't. And then we're going to go and have a fun day looking at dinosaurs. I don't know what we're actually doing. My friend booked tickets. And I'm going to be fully absorbed in that. And I will check my emails, and I will no doubt email Gemma going, and you'll go, oh, I'm confused because my brain's not working. But then, you know, when I get back, I'm just trying to be like, right, this is what's happening today. It's summer holidays. It's actually nicer for me to have a nice time than to spend it stressing. So although I have been knackered, I am trying to focus on what's happening at the time, but also make some time for me to do what I want to do. And what I ultimately want to do is lie in a sun lounger and read my book. And so I've decided anytime it's sunny enough, that's what I'm going to be doing. And I can work in my sun lounger, I can read my book in my sun lounger, fine. But it's my summer too, you know?
Yeah. But when it's interesting you said that about worrying about something that might happen, that might not even happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was something that I call that the what if gremlins.
Yeah. That's exactly, in coaching we call them gremlins. And my friend who is a coach always used to say to me before I trained, she'd be like, are you a mind reader? And I'd be like, no. She'd be like, or she'd say, are you a fortune teller? And I'd be like, no. And she'd say, well, so how do you know? How do you know what's going to happen?
Yeah. And I think the way I look at it, or the way I come at it, is when people in pregnancy are like, what if I've got a massive baby? What if I end up having an emergency section? What if this? What if this? What if this? And like, they really get into your head, because subconsciously your brain's like, oh, okay, well, that could happen. So yeah, it's something that I used to be really bad about at when my anxiety was really bad. I'd be like, what if I have a panic attack and pass out? What if? But I'm much better at it now. I always try and challenge it, but it's difficult if it's happening subconsciously. You have to try and catch it at that moment when it's just like, but what if something really great happens? What if?
Yeah. And or just like, and I did a course, like a 10-minute sofa session with the lovely lady whose name we can never quite get, Anna Mathers. Anna on emetophobia, and her thing is cross that bridge if you come to it. And that's the thing, it's like, if it happens, then I'll deal with it, but I don't have to deal with it now. And it is literally, and I have an amazing client who I said to her, why don't you try and just for 1 week, because she was a big fortune teller of like obsessing about the stuff that might not happen. I was like, why don't you for 1 week live in the moment? That was about 2 months ago. She's done it ever since. She's completely like a different person. And she's like, no, I just deal with stuff as it happens. What I'm doing whatever I'm doing in the moment. Like, oh God, I wish I could be like you. That's amazing. But it's really, so yeah, I'm just like, there's no point spending all this money, because there's another thing. Like, a lot of stuff is geared towards two adults, 2 kids, or like sending, and before, because Jack was smaller, so quite a lot of stuff you had to be 4 and over or 5 and over. Now he's 5, he can do everything with his brothers. So also it's stuff like, I've got to pay for 3 of them. So, you know, dino tickets for 4, including me, is expensive. And it's like, if you're spending that money, enjoy it. Take photos with the kids, with the dinosaurs, be there, but, you know, take them out for lunch afterwards, rather than doing what I would be doing before, which is like, got to send this email and in the dark while they're looking at something and being really almost resentful of that time.
Yeah.
So that's
having said that though, remember I told on last week's episode, I said that we were going to the zoos.
Yeah.
Not the zoos, the museums.
Yeah. How was that?
Right. Well, so Mike was away with work all of that week, right? And because I have this thing where I have to like, I'm very competitive. I don't know if you've ever noticed that about me, Chippy. You know, it's just, I can't even, in fact, the other day, I can't let an episode go by without me referencing spin. Okay. It's just, okay. The other day I was in spin and some of the instructors do a time trial where you get 4 minutes and you have to cycle a mile. And they have everybody's bike number and their distance on the wall, like projected onto the wall.
Spin related incident.
And every time they say we're going to do a time trial today, I'm like, oh fuck,
because you have to win.
Because I can't. It doesn't matter how knackered I am. My body and brain will not let me go. So we're just going to sit this one out. We're just going to take it easy. My body's like, we are giving it 100% and we are going to try to win, even if it kills us. So this guy just must have seen me go, oh, fuck, like that. And he went, actually, you know what? We're going to do 2. I was like, no. And he did 1 right at the end. I actually thought I was going to be sick.
Came second.
Yeah. Which
also known as first loser.
Yeah. But for me, you know, anyway, so I can't remember why.
No, that's amazing.
Huh?
That's amazing though, second at the end.
No, I almost took a picture of the leaderboard, but I thought that's a little bit too much, Gem. Don't do that. A little bit embarrassing. Anyway, so Mike had been away for a week. And I'm like, I want to prove that I can win at parenting. I want to prove that I've got this together, right? So I'm going to take all the kids to the zoo, to the museum.
That's a lot.
Yeah, right. So Mike was due to fly in on the Friday. So Tom didn't want to go to the museums, which was fair enough. So he went to my parents for the day and me, Ben and Johnny went. So I was like, right, we're going to hit the dinosaur, the Natural History Museum. It was so hot. You were right. Oh my God. I thought I was going to die. And then
you were like, it'll be fine.
And Ben's like, I'm like, Ben, look, it's a Stegosaurus dinosaur. Ben, look, and he just stood there and went, I mean, at what point does it get fun? And I'm like, and Johnny was like, Ben, she's literally about to explode. What do you know? He said, is this it? Is it, because we're in the Natural History Museum, is this it? And I was like, yeah, it's like stuffed things, bones.
Like actual dinosaur.
Yeah, I was like, this is an actual dinosaur bone.
See, my kids literally, as long as there's a shop, and my stand-in mother-in-law would take them to the shop sometimes, to the museum sometimes, and she would just always be disappointed because she'd be like, well, Ned wouldn't do anything until we'd been to the shop. And I was like, yeah, you have to take him to the shop first.
Yeah, so we did go to the shop and got some magnetic stones. Anyway, I realised
a lot like the stones that you could have seen, but he didn't want to see because, yeah. Kids.
But I realised my audience. I was like, right, we're shipping out. We're going next door to the Science Museum.
Did you go upstairs?
The Wonder Lab.
Yeah.
Well, that's extra, isn't it? That's not free, but that was fine. It was like 20 quid for 3 of us to go in. And he was in his element. So I'm like, right, you got to play to your audience. Like, I thought he would have been obsessed with the dinosaurs because he loves Jurassic Park, but they weren't moving and they weren't roaring or trying to kill him. And I think there was no excitement there.
Yeah, I think, I mean, a lot of the time with London, I'm like, there's stuff you can do for free. There's loads of stuff in London you can do for free. And I totally get it. And as I've said previously in this episode, I used to have to just find loads of stuff to do for free. But the Science Museum Wonder Lab is well worth it, because I bet if you'd had Tom with you, even Tom would have found stuff. And what I think is so good about it is that, as we've seen, I've got emo kid, silent kid, bonkers kid, and all 3 of them are catered for in Wonder Lab. So if you're going to London, Wonder Lab at the top of the Science Museum, I genuinely think is worth the cash. And it's not timed, is it? You can spend as much time in there as you
No,
like.
it's not timed. And it's like, it was just, oh, okay, this is what he wants. He wants to do experiments. So just off you go.
And they can kind of just, I always imagine myself, I don't know if other mums think this, you know how scorpion mums carry their scorpion babies on their back? And then, oh, okay, scorpion mummies carry their scorpion babies on their back, and they must make a noise or give off a smell or something, and the little scorpion babies come and climb on, and then off Mrs. Scorpion goes, and then they climb off. And I always feel like Wonderlab is one of those places where me as Scorpion mother, who in London, anxiety always, bearing in mind I lived there for 20 years, still sure I'm going to lose one of my children. I de-Scorpion at the Wonderlab because they can all kind of go off, but it's got one entrance and exit, and I'm pretty sure the lady on the door will be like, you look a little to be leaving by yourself, where's your grown up, or whatever. So they can go off and do different things. And that was also really nice, is that I could just kind of dot between each kid and be like, oh, look, you're firing water at a target, moving target, and you're looking at lightning being made.
Oh yeah, that was cool. Did I ever tell you about that time I thought I'd lost Tom?
No.
The O2.
No. I couldn't take my kids to the O2. No.
So he was about 11. He was about 11. Johnny was about 9. I've got tickets to watch X Factor live, which amazing, right? I took my mum.
Were you hoping they'd say, is Gemma Bray here? Is Gemma Bray in the audience? Oh, no, not me.
I am. Yeah. Shall I come up?
I just remember when we were filming my podcast and we were singing something and your computer said, are you searching for music or something? Do you remember?
I can't understand what you're singing or something, it said, didn't it?
No, it said, are you trying to play music or are you wanting to record music? And you were like, no, thanks. Not today.
We went to Wagamama's, which was just outside the O2, but it's in like the big square. And we just finished our meal, me, Mum, Johnny and Tom. And Ben was a baby. He stayed at home with Mike. And Tom said, I need a wee. Right? So I was like, okay, too old to come into the ladies' loos. Yeah. Loos is literally just there. Right? I could see them. I said, go for a wee quickly. We need to go to the O2. He was gone ages. So I said to Johnny, quickly go and stick your head around there and tell him to hurry up with you.
Yeah.
So then Johnny comes back and goes, he's not in there. Honestly, Chippy, I think every single parent who's listening to this, there is a moment, isn't there, when you tip from mildly concerned to full on panic. There is a switch. And even now, I can feel it going down my arms.
Yeah.
My mum,
I've got goosebumps.
Yeah. When the colour just drained, and I think the same must have happened to me. And I went, what do you mean he's not in there? Go back, shout his name. I'll come with you. I knew I couldn't go into the male toilets.
You're so went in. I'd have kicked the door in and been like,
no, but I did. I went in. I was like, Thomas. Silence. So I'm like, fuck. So I come down the stairs, and I must have looked like a crazy woman.
Yeah.
But I was so calm. I shouted to the restaurant manager, how many exits do you have in this restaurant? And he went, what? I went, how many doors do you have? 2. I said, put a member of staff on each door. Now. And I was looking out of the window, and it's actually almost wants to make you cry. In my mind, I was envisaging someone dragging him somewhere seeing it happen.
Because that's like an anxiety dream, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And I couldn't find him. My mum was like, my mum was looking under tables. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, he's not going to be under a table. And I was a split second away from standing on the table and getting all of the diners looking for him. And then he just wanders out of the toilet as if nothing has happened. Right? He was just away with the fairies. He decided he wanted to sit down, you see, in a bit of a rest.
I see. I
And
identify with that. I usually have a book in my bag. The number of times I've been like, I'm just going to read my book.
the whole thing must have lasted about 7 minutes, but it felt like a lifetime.
End of the
And
world.
I went straight to the bar at the O2. I was like, double vodka.
It's the worst. It's awful.
It's awful. It's awful. I was just like, what's the problem? I was like, what's the problem?
Did you do that thing that I do to my kids where I'm like, wait until you have children and then you'll lose one and I'll be sitting there going, see, are you having a nice time? Are you enjoying yourself now? What's the problem?
Thank you to all of the staff who were like, what's just happened?
I think that's the thing though, you've got to be quick.
You've got to be quick, you've got to think. And I don't know where all this information came from in my head. Block exits, do this, and the other. It just came from nowhere.
Your mum's sense.
My mum's sense just literally kicked in, yeah. Oh, I don't like remembering that. That was just horrible. And then I had to sit through a whole X Factor concert with what was that woman rapper called? Something G, Mama G. Remember her? You never used to watch it. Anyway, what are we doing? So what's been your positive for the week, Chippy?
Every week it's something new. Well, I just had quite an efficient day yesterday and I don't want to be boring. But you know those days where you just get a lot of shit done?
Oh, that's not boring. That's like my perfect day.
Yeah, like my gardener came and we just trimmed and gardened and pulled up loads of weeds and sorted something out with the duck pond. Jim got his blood test done. So I just had an efficient day yesterday. What's your positive of the week?
I feel like I've got this, it's going to sound weird, but I've got this massive instinct and sense that something really good is about to happen.
Oh, I love that feeling.
Yeah. So I'm just letting that ride through.
Yeah.
I feel like something really exciting and positive is about to happen just around the corner.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I can't wait to find out what it is. And Gary bringing out a new different kind of jumpsuit.
Yeah. Or it could be that Sweaty Betty eventually just think, oh, we'll just send her everything in her
Send
size.
her everything, sponsor the podcast, make a new rep.
Exactly.
That would do.
Yeah. I'm not asking for the moon on a stick, am I?
A Gary jumpsuit on a stick.
A year's supply of jumpsuits, please.
So nice, isn't it?
I would just like to say for anybody that is watching on the video, that all episode, I felt like Chippy looks like she should be singing jazz in a 1940s speakeasy.
Darling, don't shame.
Yeah, I know. It feels like I'm talking to someone back in time. I think it's
why is that? The lipstick.
And like the arty stain on your ceiling, it adds to the mood.
Who had a leaky shower? Got that fixed finally. That's only taken.
Also, this is annoying me, right? I feel there should be a
fourth book.
It's annoying.
Gemma Bray, My Life in Songs.
My life. She's saying to me, I sent her a picture of my hair. She went, Gemma, you look more and more like Jane McDonald every day.
Living the dream.
Yeah. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we shall speak to you / see you next week. Say goodbye, Chippy.
Bye.